Hey you! Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in to Surgery Recovery Update Day 10. As my last update was really short, I know it didn't have very much information in it, so anybody that didn't already know what was going on has been left out in the cold with no information. Well, I'm going to remedy that for you today. Today's video is, it's a long story, but I want to get everybody caught up so that nobody's left behind. So, if you're ready to, let's buckle our seatbelts and let's go. So, when I was little, I didn't know it, but I had a bridge of bone growing across the bones in my foot. This kept a lot of the bones from working the way they should have, and I did walk a little strange all my life. But as I grew heavier, older, more active, the bridge of bone would begin to fracture and then remodel and refracture and remodel and refracture and remodel. It'd just keep on working its way down the bone until eventually, about 5 years ago, it began splintering down my heel bone. This became extremely painful. Let's see. Well, before that, I mean, I was in pain all those years, anyways. Between then and 5 years ago, but I pretty much just figured I was a wimp. This really shaped my opinion of myself, the way I viewed myself, and the way I saw what I was capable of doing, and caused me to not have a lot of confidence in myself. But so fast forward to 5 years ago now, I had gone into my doctor because the pain was so incredible, and I told him I refuse to live on Vicodin. There's got to be something we can do. So he took x-rays, couldn't see anything wrong. Tendinitis didn't seem to make sense as a diagnosis, so he said, well, how about I refer you to a specialist I know? And that brings in these guys. I went there to see Dr. Aaron Askew, and he was just amazing. He, come to find out, made the specific x-ray technique that was used to be able to see the bridge of bone that was in my foot that we couldn't see before. And it was there that I learned that I'd had it all my life, and that this thing has been what's been causing the pain and the limitations in the motion of my foot, and been keeping me from doing all kinds of things and causing me all of this insecurity when I thought I was just a wimp. He said, oh no, you've been experiencing some very serious pain. To remove the bridges of bone. Well, after that, about a year of finally, for the first time in my life, having a normally moving foot, the pain began coming back again. So I went back to Dr. Askew again, and we discovered that there was a tri-joint in the foot that never developed as a moving joint because of the bridge of bone that had been in there my whole life, holding it still. That joint had become bruised clear through. So, the only way, he said, to keep that from continuing to bruise and be painful would be to make sure that that joint never ever tries to move again, using some metal hardware and a bone graft. So, this brings us to surgery number 2. So now, a few years later, I been doing well. Had quite some good success. I was a success story. After 2 surgeries, we had solved the problem, and I was moving and carrying things and dancing and able to play tag with my kids again, and it was wonderful. Had my life back. But then in October of 2018, the pain came back again. Slightly different, but still very similar and just hurting a lot. So I went back to Dr. Askew again. We went through all the x-rays, got multiple angles, could not find anything to suggest what could be causing my pain now. Sorry. Get a little emotional about this because it's been a long road. A really long time. So Dr. Askew says that he believes, because the x-rays show no sign of any problems, any complications, everything's going really well. Both surgery evidences in there proved to be perfect successes. The hardware is holding very well. The body's not rejecting anything. There's no infection. No nerves are pinched. Obviously, anyway. So he says it's probably tendonitis. So this meant that I needed to stay off my foot again for as long as it takes for this tendonitis to heal. If it were tendonitis and I were not to stay off of it consistently long enough, it would turn into a chronic tendonitis that could then continue to worsen throughout the rest of my life, never go away. So I waited. I got various different apparatuses, which I will be showing in another video. All my experience with all the different things I used to help me still get along with my life without putting weight on my foot. But come July of, June. Come June of this year, the pain has not changed. And I go back and he says, well, it's safe to say now that this is not tendonitis. If it were, there would be some form of marked improvement by now. So he takes another round of x-rays. And when I come back, he shows me the x-rays again, because I always like to see all the metal hardware inside my foot. He says, at this point I'm recommending, after looking at these x-rays, your bone graft is looking excellent. It is taken very well, and all that hardware in there is just along for the ride at this point. You don't need it. So well, tell me what you think. How about you think about this and get back to me? But I'm recommending that we take out the hardware and get an MRI and get a deep look everywhere on this foot to find out why it's still hurting, so we can finally treat this and get you on your way, because it's been too long. He said that. It has been too long. I agree. So, surgery number 3 is the one I just had. And so real quick, sorry to slow you guys down. I just Chad from the future here. I realized I forgot to say that I forgot to ask after the surgery for them to give me the hardware that they'd taken out. They ended up mailing it to me. Anyway, so this next clip is me explaining the different pieces to you and showing them to you. So there you go. So here it is. This is all the hardware that was taken out of my foot down there at Desert Orthopedics. Dr. Aaron Askew, thank you for doing such a great job and being so professional. Something I didn't notice until now is that every one of these screws is a different length. It's like let's grab one of these, 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 and one of those, and one of those, and okay, all right, we'll just put this whole thing together. And that's what he did. I thought that maybe he would have had to cut some of them to length, but you can see that that is the machined end on every one of these. If I can get this to focus. Yeah. He's a craftsman, that Aaron Askew. And this one looks more like a lag bolt. But so there's that. When I first looked at it, I thought it was broken off, but let's see if I can get a better look at that. That's just the design. It's just made to dig into that bone and hold it. So, and then we had two washers in there for, I guess, the two screws that were going through that eyebrow, he called it. So, yeah, quite a pile of hardware. For comparison, here's my hand next to it, so you can see, kind of for size comparison, all that hardware. Now, I know a lot of people have had a lot more than this inside of them, but I don't know. I'm just surprised now that I see it. 8 screws, a lag bolt, 2 washers, and an eyebrow. So, here we are. Day 10 of recovery, of an estimated 3-week recovery this time. My last 2 surgeries were estimated 3-month recoveries, so I'm totally down with this. It's gonna be okay. And after this heals, we'll be able to schedule that MRI and hopefully finally get some answers. Hi, Chad again from the future. I just wanted to say that I promise my future updates are going to be much more upbeat than this, and hopefully more entertaining. And I promise not to cry in front of the camera again, if at all I can help it. God bless you. I hope you're having a great day. See you next time.